Hello, I'm Jack and welcome back to the Go-to-Market Alliance YouTube channel, where we discuss all things go-to-market. In our last video, we explored how you can use the power of great positioning and messaging to build an irresistibly attractive brand identity for your startup. Now it's time to look at how you can validate your positioning and messaging strategies and secure that all-important executive buy-in. We all know the importance of using data to guide your decisions, but what if you're just starting out and you don't have lots of data to go on? But don't worry, there are still ways to get feedback on your positioning and messaging. Quantitative research. As a startup, you may not have a huge pool of customers to draw feedback from just yet, but that's okay. You can still pull together a panel or focus group and put a few different versions of your messaging in front of them. Your panel members don't have to be existing customers, as long as they represent the target audience that you want to win over. The input they will give will clue you in on how your messaging is being received and if you're reasoning with your target audience. Test for factors like trust, credibility, and how unique your audience perceives you as being. And if you're not ranking as well as you'd like to for those things, that's okay. With the right tweaks, your messaging will solve this problem. Qualitative interviews. Next up, we have qualitative interviews. You'll want to speak to representatives across your entire range of buyer personas. It's also useful to talk to both existing and prospective customers to see if your messaging is having the impact you want it to. Qualitative data fleshes out what you've learned at the quantitative stage. You can use it to get more in-depth responses and pinpoint exactly where things are going right or wrong from a customer perspective. A/B testing. The third message you can use to validate your positioning and messaging is A/B testing. In case you're not familiar with the concept, in A/B testing, you put two versions of a piece of messaging, one as a control and one as a variable. The feedback you get on these messages, i.e. which ones get the better engagement or lead generation, can help you hone your messaging style. There are plenty of channels at your disposal when it comes to putting A/B tests together out there, but the easiest are probably emails and social media posts. You can also get your sales team involved, since your messaging will be a key ingredient to their success. One idea is to have them try out a few different pitches on sales calls until you hit upon the recipe for messaging success. Validating your messaging is super useful for refining your strategy and learning how to engage with your customers. But it also benefits you and strengthens your positioning within your company. This kind of feedback is a great way to demonstrate the value of good messaging. With good research that demonstrates the impact of messaging and positioning can have on lead generation and sales, you are more likely to win the support of leadership going forward. Getting executive buy-in for your positioning and messaging. Speaking of earning leadership support, at a startup, you aren't going to have the established marketing team that you'd have at an enterprise level. So don't be surprised if you find yourself explaining why marketing matters again and again and again. You need to be able to justify marketing's role in the business and prove how you're adding value and growing revenue. If you're a CMO, it's important to get the CEO on side as soon as possible. This is vital because you'll need a decent marketing budget to get the brand off the ground. Proving that marketing generates revenue can be hard, but the upside is that at a startup, you're going to have much closer working relationships with the people you need to win over. The marketing team at Tesla probably doesn't get much face time with Elon Musk, but at a startup, you can just have a chat with the CEO. Alignment is also easier to build in smaller teams. You will likely be collaborating with other teams a lot of the time, which is going to make it much easier to show them why your work is important. A product isn't going anywhere without good marketing, and if your engineers see the value you can add, they'll advocate for investment in what you're doing. The role of marketing might not be established yet, but you can establish it and you'll need to. Getting positioning and messaging off the ground usually relies on a pretty hefty financial investment. Domain names alone cost thousands of dollars, but in the long run, it'll be worth it because without the brand identity we talked about in our last video, your company's product won't get noticed. For a CEO to drop that kind of money though, you do need to show them why marketing is worth it. This may be frustrating, especially as it will seem obvious to you, but it's never a bad thing to be able to articulate your value. Remember that when you're looking for financial investment from the C-suite, your best bet is to demonstrate the value you'll add to the brand and revenue growth you'll generate. Lead with numbers and make it clear that without the proper messaging and positioning, your product will get lost in a sea of near identical offerings. That's a wrap on how to make your brand's voice heard, but the journey doesn't end there. Swing by go-to-marketalliance.com for more resources that will help you raise your go-to-market game. See you next time.